Stay tight, stay tight. We're talking about our core today. Okay, we're talking about what is your core. Well, you think that core is just a word. You think that core is just, the flashy abs, the ones that you put baby oil on. Is that what you think what core is? Core is more than that, okay? What is core? When we talk about core, what we want to say is we're working on our trunk. Think about a trunk of a tree, okay? That's pretty much how I'm gonna describe what our core is. Okay, so you see the trunk of the tree, right? And you see that the tree has the outer layer, right? This is the kind of oak side of the tree. If you were to chop that tree, you would see rings, and those rings indicate that the age of that tree, right? But in anatomy, we don't just have one muscle, right? We don't just have the ab muscle. The core is the unit that surrounds throughout the whole back and through our whole side here. So what is the core? Your TVA, right? Your transverse abdominis, right? You're talking about your lateral obliques. You're talking about your deep muscles that you have inside. You're talking about your erectors in your back. You're talking about your multifidus. You're talking about so many muscles that your core isn't just the abs that you see. Core often can be disguised by saying that person has abs, they have core. That doesn't mean that they have core. You can be fit, you can look fit but not be fit. Do you understand what I'm saying, what I'm going with this? You don't have to look fit to be fit, and you could be fit and not look it at all. So, you see, for example, a power lifter. They are really strong, they have a tremendous amount of core, but they might not have abs. That doesn't mean that they don't have core. So why am I talking about core today? Is because a lot of you guys have back pain. What does back pain have to do with core? All of it. If you really think about it, and I'm gonna break it down to you, okay? Our pelvis, right? Like I was speaking to the video before, our pelvis is responsible for keeping us upright throughout the whole time as we walk in motion, as we run in motion, as we exercise and we rotate. All these things play a role when you're doing exercises. But the pelvis sometimes, has a tilt, and depending where the tilt is at, it's gonna affect you different, right? So you'll see older men, right? You'll see the viejitos, you see the guys, waiting at the bakery store. They're kind of like waiting in line, and they're standing like this. Their butt is tucked in, they're like this, right? It's because over time, they've had their pelvis drop back, and this causes this kind of motion. This is called the posterior tilt. So what happens when this happens? Their glutes get tight, their hamstrings get tight, hence why they start walking like this, like they're Clint Eastwood in a spaghetti western movie, right? So you have that. Then you have the typical, let's say, Miami look, right? The typical Miami girl look with the heels, right? And you got this going on, and then you got this going on, right? You have that tilt. You're very anteriorly tilted, so your hips are in this position right here. So you're right here, right? Or you have somebody has really tight, or have a really tight back because all of this is opened up. Look at that rib cage. It's opened up. Their core is not even engaged. Their obliques are not engaged. Their TVA is not engaged. Their stomach is not engaged. So they're opening all this up, and they're causing all this back pain because their back is being tight. So what causes that? Tight hip flexors throughout the day. So if you're walking like this in heels all day, that's gonna cause you to feel some kind of way. So how are we supposed to walk? Ideally, you wanna have a neutral hip, not like this and not like this. But doing this, right, this motion right here, it's called hip dissociation. This is when you're able to have range of motion and understanding that your hip can do that. If your hip can't do that, it's because you're not really aware of what your body is supposed to do. So what does that have to do with core? I know I'm going back to this. The pelvis has to do a lot with it because you're thinking about your abs, and your abs are not just necessarily this muscle, but it's a lot of muscles. It's a lot of muscles. It kind of looks like a straw, just like a cylinder, just like what we spoke about earlier about the tree. It looks like that. So we need to work on that whole unit and becoming stronger and being able to stay tight. So when we do exercises, we stay tight when we squat. We stay tight when we bench. We stay tight when we roll, when we pull. Anything we do, we have to stay tight. So I'm gonna first actually do this exercise, which is a harder exercise in my opinion when it comes to core, okay? So a lot of you guys do the ab rollers. I've seen you guys do it. I've seen you guys hashtag it. You guys love doing this, okay? I see a lot of problems in this. I'm gonna do it first a certain way, and then I'm gonna do it another way. You tell me if I'm doing it right or wrong, okay? So I'm gonna come here. That's one way. Then I'm gonna come here. That's the other way. The first way is the right way. The second way is not the right way, okay? I'm gonna explain first the wrong way. The wrong way is when you're coming here. So far, my hips are not engaged. What's happening to my lower back? There is no stability here. All the ways, I'm top heavy. All my weight is on my hands. So I'm here and my hips are not coming with me. I'm almost like leaving my ass back and I'm trying to go further. You're not doing anything there. What you need to be doing is coming here and squeezing your butt from the get-go. You see, I'm squeezing my butt. Now what's happening in my back? I'm gonna round my back. Now typically in exercises, it's a lot of arch your back, fix your back, fix your back. Not in this exercise. You wanna round your back. Why? You're rounding your back, you're squeezing your glutes, and you're going as far as possible. If this is as far as you can go, you see I'm already a little shaky, boom, I'm working my core right there. Because as I'm coming back, I'm crunching. It's as if I'm crunching down. So I'm going here, I'm squeezing my glutes, coming here, and I'm a crunch. Woo! I feel that, okay? Now, as you get better, how do you go the whole way? Well, you gotta be good at this, okay? Squeeze your glutes. And round your back. Now, rounding your back. When you round your back, why are you rounding your back? Think about your rib cage, okay? Think about this. If you're coming here, you're exposing your ribs are flaring out, right? They're like this. You wanna bring them down, boom. You wanna bring them down. This means you're engaging your core. And I'm gonna put it to you in a better example. When have you ever seen a professional athlete with their rib cage flared out? You don't really see that. You'll see this in boxing. You don't see boxers fight like this. What happens? They get punched in their stomach. There's no engagement here. You don't see football players having to be like big belly like this. Yeah, they stay tight and they're right here, but they're not here. They're not exposing themselves. No one exposes themselves that way. Even a quarterback, they're having to stay tight right here, right? So you're thinking about that. You want to bring that rib cage down. What you do when you bring that rib cage down, you allow the back to get more long. How does that happen? Let me explain to you. You have agonist and antagonist muscles. Agonists are the muscles that are working. So if I'm pulling, let's look at this shirt. If I'm pulling here, right, this shirt is gonna lift up, right? Same thing that happens to our core, right? And our back. If we pull down and we're crunching, and I'm crunching, my back is extending. If I'm crunching here, my anterior side is extending. So it works the same way. If I'm squeezing my bicep, my tricep is getting long. If I'm squeezing my tricep, my bicep is getting long. Do you understand the ratio that's going on here? You have to understand how your body is functioning in these positions, especially when it comes to core exercises. So I like to do those because you're not allowing yourself to break and you're staying really tight. So you're going through, you're holding it, coming back, and you're allowing yourself to engage your glutes, stay tight, and not being able to shift. So you're not breaking position when you go forward. That's one of the exercises I like to do to strengthen your lower back. But if not done right, you can hurt yourself. So you gotta pay some attention to details. Let's move on from there. We're gonna be talking about the Pallof press. Why is it called Pallof? I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm sure someone called Pallof came up with it. What is the importance of this exercise? And why doesn't this look so much like this Why doesn't this look so much like this? Why isn't these core exercises like that? Because you're doing a lot of stuff that has to do with anti-rotation. Anti-rotation, what does anti mean? It's against, right? I'm anti-eating bread. That means you're anti-eating bread. You don't eat bread, right? So anti-rotation is against rotation. We're not doing rotation. So here, I'm gonna bring this band. This band has about good 30 to 40 band tension. So I'm gonna bring it to the middle, boom. Now, in order for me to keep this band here, I must have my obliques, my inner core muscles really be activated to help me stabilize here. So when I go further and I go press, boom, I'm holding it there. I'm bringing it back, holding it there, bringing it back, okay? This is good. This is us working core right here. What is us not working core is you get here and you get pulled back easily. It's because you don't have the engagement to stay against rotation here, okay? I'm bringing it all the way out. I'm gauging my core. I'm squeezing my abs. And I'm bringing it back. There you go. Boom. Back, okay? How can we have a variation of this? Let's make it harder, okay? Here, out, in, squeezing. I'm pushing off the floor. You don't even see that. Why? Because everything is driven through the middle, the center of mass, right there, boom. Okay, what's another way I can get fancy with it? Okay, here, let's go. Wood chops. You see how I'm always aligned in the middle? That's another way of doing it. This would be more of an advanced way. What would be more of a beginner way? Here, same thing, okay? Out and in, above my head and back, all these exercises. Maybe we can get a little bit more fancier with that, okay? Come here, one arm and back, right? So if I do that, I'm working my pec and back. It's still a press here and back, here and back, same thing. Anti-rotation. Why do you do anti-rotation? A lot of times if somebody has, you know, like a herniated disc, those situations sometimes become iffy when you're doing rotation, you're turning. So maybe doing this kind of exercise, Russian twist, or doing exercises like this isn't good for you. Why? You're rotating in positions where you might flare up those muscles because you're trying to get the motion down, but you're not engaging anything. That's why it's really important that you focus on this. Okay, so we did peel-off press, we did this, then we're gonna focus on something else. The next thing we're actually working on is gonna be hip hikes. This is how we bring everything together, okay? Notice that here we extended. Here we extended horizontally in the middle. And now we're gonna do the same in a different format. We're gonna put my feet on top of this, just like this, okay? Now, I'm stabilizing right here. A beginner way of doing this would be tucking your knees in and going right back out. Guys, I'm not doing this. You see my back is down? I'm coming up. I'm rounding my back. Round your back, okay? In and out. I'm pushing away from the floor. Then I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna use my toes, head down, back, okay? That would be more of an advanced movement. So I come here, and that would be basically me doing what I did forward, but now I'm using my legs. In the beginning, when I was doing that, my lower body was stabilizing. Now, my lower body is actually doing the movement, my upper body is stabilizing. So now, all these exercises that we just did, this is a perfect way to get creative with your core exercises. That way you guys don't just do flexions, You guys just don't do lateral crunches. Get away from that stuff. I'm not saying it's good. It's not good, because we definitely do it inside here. But I'm just saying, if you guys want to develop your core to be stronger and transition to other exercises, this is where the money's at, okay? So it's one of my favorite exercises that I like to do. I've definitely seen improvements. And it's something that I feel like you need to challenge yourself. When you're in the gym, and this is probably off topic a little bit, when you're in the gym, you need to challenge yourself. If you're not challenging yourself, what are you doing at the gym? Go home. You're not challenging yourself. And that might be a little bit like intense for me to say, but I feel that if you're gonna really be about something, if you're really gonna dedicate the time to spend your energy in doing something, especially for yourself, don't kind of go halfway at it. Don't just kind of do it. You do it completely. Because I'd rather you give me your 100% and not be able to complete a workout. If you go 100%, you didn't complete a workout, I'm okay with that. Opposed to you going half-assed through a whole workout and saying you did it. Why are you lying to yourself? You did something, you completed it, yes, but at what cost? Did you really push yourself? I'd rather me program for you and say, look, I need you to go 4 rounds of this, and you said, hey, I was only able to do 2 rounds because I'm gassed, I couldn't no more. But man, what a way to go about it. And then you said, look, I went really hard those 2 rounds, and then I coasted the other 2. You're being honest with yourself. You're not just being honest with me, but you're being honest with yourself. And those are things that I feel that are important when it comes to training. It's honesty with yourself. That's why the motto here is live your truth. You can lie to me, you can do 3 sets instead of the 5 that I assigned to you. But if you didn't want to push yourself, that's up to you. And I think that this is a very important factor when it comes to training. If you're not challenging yourself, you're not really getting the full potential that you could be living up to. Potential is something that you would only know. I don't know that, okay? I don't know that. I don't know what you can possibly do, but I know you can do more. And it's about that, you know? If you're feeling fatigue, you have to recognize there's 2 kinds of fatigues. There's mental fatigue. There's mental fatigue, and there's physical fatigue. How do I separate both? How do I separate mental fatigue from physical fatigue? Mental fatigue is when you've had a lot of stuff going on inside here. You've had to work, there's a lot of people are blowing you up, you got a lot of emails, you got to respond to people, life. You got a lot of stuff going on here. But maybe you come inside the gym and you can't give it your all, okay? But it's important that you get there. And then you have physical fatigue. You're feeling a little bit sore, but does that mean that you cannot finish it? No, that means you can finish it. You should try and give it your hardest. This is understanding your body, and these are all little elements that are gonna allow you to become better throughout time. That's why I think it's important that we challenge ourselves when we train. Guys, I'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in, and see you for the next video.